energy comparison between New Zealand and Russia. New Zealand's landscape is composed of jaw-dropping glaciers, fjords which are long, narrow inlets with steep sides or cliffs, rugged mountains, vast plains, subtropical forests, volcanic plateaus, and miles of beautiful sandy coastline. The landscape varies drastically between the North and South Islands. Much of New Zealand's northern island is developed and contains roughly three-fourths of the population versus the rugged mountainous southern island. New Zealand is also composed of Stewart Island and many other smaller islands that lie offshore. The Waikato River, which is New Zealand's longest river and is located in the northern island, contains 8 hydroelectric dams that help provide the surrounding areas with energy. There are also many geothermal spots across this country that help provide it with energy. New Zealand sits on one of the most active plate boundaries in the world. Depending on where you go in Russia, the landscape varies from desert to frozen coastlines. There are mountains, huge marshes, rolling treeless plains, pine forests, and about 100,000 rivers, some of which are amongst the longest and most powerful in the world. Russia is also home to the 2 largest lakes in Europe, Ladoga and Onega. Issues regarding decades of unregulated pollution have caused widespread harm. New Zealand's energy supply is dominated by renewable energy with a TPES, or total primary energy supply, of 367.49 petajoules, which accounted for nearly 40% of the total energy supplied in 2017. I would like you to take note that 1 petajoule is equivalent to the electricity needed to power 40,000 homes. That means that renewable energy in 2017 had the capacity to power nearly 14.7 million New Zealand homes. The next fuel primarily used in New Zealand is oil, supplying the country with 293.26 petajoules in 2017. Along with the domination of supplied energy, in 2018, renewables dominated the electricity generation sector with approximately 84% of the electricity in New Zealand coming from renewable sources. This number is up from 81.8% in 2017. Hydroelectric power, in specific, is responsible for generating the majority of New Zealand's energy. 2018 saw the highest generation of hydroelectric power in nearly 14 years with a whopping 26,027 gigawatt hours. Due to New Zealand's location on the edge of both the Australian and Pacific tectonic plates, favorable geological conditions are created, allowing for the exploitation of geothermal power. In 2018, geothermal energy accounted for over 17% of New Zealand's total electricity supply. Total output levels reached 7,510 gigawatt hours. Other sources of energy generation, such as wind, solar, and biofuels, are much less prevalent in New Zealand than the hydro and geothermal sources. Wind, however, does have a bright future in contributing to the generation of electricity through renewable sources in New Zealand. Many companies are in the works of constructing large wind farms worth hundreds of millions of dollars. In 2018, the New Zealand government announced that it would end offshore oil and gas exploration. They accomplished this by refusing to grant new offshore permits. The focus of oil and gas production in New Zealand has shifted to the continued development of existing fields. The overall production of crude oil proceeds to decline as oil fields slowly dry up with age. The continued development of existing key oil fields hopes to ensure an ongoing supply of crude oil to the country for as long as possible. Unlike the renewable energy dominant country of New Zealand, Russia relies heavily on non-renewable energy sources such as natural gas, coal, and oil. Russia is home to the largest known natural gas reserves of any country on this planet, as well as the second largest coal reserves and 8th largest oil reserves. Natural gas has been highlighted as holding key strategic importance to Russia. Comparing Russia's TPES data to New Zealand's, we first notice how incredibly large Russia's energy supply is. Keep in mind 100,000 keto, or kilotons of oil equivalent, is roughly 4,186.8 petajoules. Based off the data, that means that Russia's energy supply in 2017 was 33.8 times larger than New Zealand's. This is not surprising considering Russia has a population 29.6 times bigger than New Zealand's and the overwhelmingly large landmass that Russia embodies. During 2017, renewable sources of energy only contributed to 3.26% of Russia's total energy supply. Although this is a very small percent of the total, the amount that it supplies Russia with is still greater than the total energy supply of all of New Zealand. Hydroelectric power is the most commonly used source for generating renewable electricity. Russia has 102 hydropower plants with capacities of over 100 megawatts, making it the fifth largest producer of hydropower in the world. Geothermal energy is the second most commonly used form of renewable energy within Russia, while solar and wind are the least commonly used. As this may be, there is great potential for solar in Russia, and many plans have been created in order to construct solar plants across the country. In conclusion, the primary energy supply of both of these countries varies greatly with source. New Zealand is most definitely the more renewably rich country, but I don't think it's Russia's fault that they don't incorporate more renewables. Russia's geography, along with the surplus of non-renewables, makes this country unreliant on the use of renewable energy as a fuel. Russia does, however, try its best to use the renewable sources of energy that are easily accessible to them. New Zealand will always shine and be one of the leading nations in this global push to switch over to renewable sources of energy. Hopefully, many countries can follow New Zealand's energy strategies so that this planet can continue to be beautiful and prosper for generations to come.